Good day, Novo Vizcayanos. Lala Mamuric po ang inyong ka-helping hands with the heart. Kasama ko po ngayon ang Academic Dean and School of Teacher, Education and Humanities na si Mrs. Maria Theresa Tayaban. Good day po, Madam.
Good day, Lala. It's good to be back.
Yes po.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our show brought to you by Helping Hands with a Heart. Today, we are going to dwell on the psychosocial theory of development. If you recall, previously we have been emphasizing the importance of developing among children good manners and right conduct. And we can bank on this theory by Erik Erikson in helping raise our children to become more aware of good manners and right conduct, because this theory claims that the environment, the interaction of the people around the developing child will impact the development of a healthy and positive personality. Erik Erikson developed this theory wherein he claims that every person has to go through 8 interrelated stages over the entire life cycle. So we have 8 here, but we will just dwell on the first 4. The infant, the toddler, the preschooler, and the school-age child for today's session. So to start with, let us look at what happens at infancy. This is from birth to 18 months of age. So the major emphasis is on the mother's or father's nurturing ability and care for a child, especially in terms of visual contact and touch. The child will develop optimism, trust, confidence, and security if the child is properly cared for and handled. If a child does not experience trust, he or she may develop insecurity, worthlessness, and general mistrust to the world. So you might ask, what specific example can we give here? When an infant cries, is immediate attention given to the child? Because there is this belief among folks that they should allow the child to cry for a certain period of time, because this way the child's vocal cords are developed and the child would grow up becoming a good singer. But the danger with that is that we are neglecting the child. We are allowing the child to develop mistrust rather than trust. So I repeat, at this stage, according to Erik Erikson, if we want the child to develop basic trust, the mother, the father, or whoever is the primary caregiver should immediately pay attention to the needs of the infant. Now let us proceed to the second stage, the early childhood years from 18 months to 3 years of age. So the emphasis here has something to do with autonomy versus shame. Will the child develop the value of will? So the child has an opportunity to build self-esteem and autonomy as he or she learns new skills and right from wrong. So early on, these are important skills that we have to build with our children. The well-cared for child is sure of himself, carrying himself or herself with pride rather than shame. So during this time of the terrible twos, defiance, temper tantrums, even stubbornness can also appear. Children tend to be vulnerable during this stage, sometimes feeling shame and low self-esteem during an inability to learn certain skills. Let us be more specific. Sometimes we parents or whoever is the caregiver tend to be very strict with children, especially at this stage. Imagine 18 to 3 years of age. They are so very young children. And we already set so much high standards for them. Let us allow them to be children. But at the same time, we help them develop the skills of independence. I have observed some caregivers running after toddlers with this wet towel because they don't want children to be dirty. But this can be done after play or before the child goes back to or goes to sleep. So if the child appears to be dirty, well, that's part of growing up. What is important is that we allow them to explore their immediate world. And at the same time, by allowing them to explore their environment, they also become stronger. They develop certain instincts which they will be needing when they are grown up. So, autonomy versus shame. Let us allow our children to be independent, to enjoy what it is to be a toddler. So, moving on, preschoolers. So, we have our children 3 to 5 years of age. So, what are the things that children should develop at this stage? So, the basic values here would be initiative. Will the child develop initiative or would the child develop guilt? In other words, are we training our children to develop purpose? Yes, as early as 3 to 5 years of age, we can allow children to develop purpose. During this period, we experience a desire to copy the adults around us and take initiative in creating play situations. We make up stories with Barbies and Kens, toy phones and miniature cars, playing out roles in a trial universe, experimenting with the blueprint for what we believe it means to be an adult. We also begin to use the wonderful word for exploring the world, and that is why. You remember children asking, why? And sometimes we adults get tired of answering the questions and we simply tell them, shut up. But what happens when we keep on telling children to shut up? Will they ever be able to develop initiative? While Erikson was influenced by Freud, he downplays biological sexuality in favor of the psychosocial features of conflict between child and parents. Nevertheless, he said that at this stage, we usually become involved in the classic Oedipal struggle and resolve this struggle through social role identification. When you say Oedipal struggle, I don't know if you have heard of the Oedipus complex, wherein this is a mythical character wherein Oedipus fell in love with his mother. So, if we're frustrated over natural desires and goals, we may easily experience guilt. Well, this part of the theory, or the theory itself, is adapted from foreign culture. That is why many parents claim that they have not observed the Oedipal complex and the Electra complex experienced by their growing children. And that is understandable because we are adapting this theory from a foreign culture. So what is important in the development of initiative at the preschool age is that the relationship with the basic family is very essential. So are we there as parents at this very crucial stage of our children? So remember, in the development of initiative, this is the very time when our children need very good role models. So we only have ourselves to ask, are we providing our growing children the best role models for them to develop initiative rather than guilt? Or in other words, to develop purpose in life. So finally, we reach the fourth stage of the 8 stages under the psychosocial theory. So this is now the school age child from age 6 to 12 years of age. So during this stage, often called the latency stage, we are capable of learning, creating, and accomplishing numerous new skills and knowledge, resulting to the development of a sense of industry. So the difficulty at this stage is that, are we training our children to develop industry or inferiority? In other words, it is at this very stage where we have to teach our children competence. This is also a very social stage of development. And if we experience unresolved feelings of inadequacy and inferiority among our peers, we can have serious problems in terms of competence and self-esteem. Remember the time when your child came home from school showing you a test paper with a 95% mark? And how did we react to that? There are parents who react by saying, 95 only? Why not 100? So when that is the usual and common reaction to children's accomplishment, are we not developing inferiority among our children rather than the value of industry? Because children get to feel that they are not good enough. So it is important that we appreciate, that we acknowledge every little single accomplishment that they tell us, because this will be the foundation for them to believe in their capacity to do things at their own level. As the world expands a bit, our most significant relationship is the school and the neighborhood. Parents are no longer the complete authorities they once were, although they are still important. So sometimes parents feel the change. When the children were younger, children would always say, "Sabi ni Mami." But once they start going to school, it changes to, "Sabi ni teacher." And eventually, when they have developed friendships, it becomes, "Sabi ng friend ko." There are parents who become alarmed. But this is just normal. And we have to find ways and means to make ourselves known, to make ourselves important to the lives of our children without disregarding the preferences that they give to their teachers, to their classmates, to their friends. Because as mentioned in the theory, this is a very social stage. To emphasize what we have discussed for this session, I think this simple poem will summarize what it is that children need to grow into good children, good adults. It is entitled, Children Learn What They Live. And it goes this way. If a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, he learns to fight. If a child lives with ridicule, he learns to be shy. If a child lives with shame, he learns to be guilty. If a child lives with encouragement, he learns confidence. If a child lives with praise, he learns to appreciate. If a child lives with security, he learns to have faith. If a child lives with fairness, he learns to have justice. If a child lives with approval, he learns to like himself. And if a child lives with acceptance and friendship, he learns to find love in the world. So we have come to the end of this session. I hope you learned some bits of and pieces that you can learn or that you can teach in raising your children. So I look forward to your being with us, watching us again in the next session that we will have. So once again, this is Matet saying, see you next time.